I was talking to some people recently and I said, you haven't heard anybody in the state of Texas say anything good about the drought. Now is your big opportunity, because I'm going to. I think that this drought, because of its depth and extent, has attracted people's attention to what potential situations of water deficit mean. In a committee hearing a couple of weeks ago, the mayor of Groesbeck was in our committee and at one point in tears. Here's a town that this is not a wide spot in the road. There's a small town with a population of 4,000 people, a school district of 1,600 kids that was looking at running out of water by Thanksgiving just passed. What was going to be done and how was it going to be paid for with a small budget? And pipelines cost a lot of money. The closest water in terms of new source was about 8 miles away. And that's got to be $500,000 in pipeline right there in a pretty simple sort of arrangement. But at the same time, planning is probably no more important than any other area than it is water, because if you look at the impoundments, reservoirs, that areas like the Metroplex are going to need in the future, that planning, not just in terms of the technical details, but the fiscal details, we need to start now, because if they fired up the first tractor tomorrow, it would be 30 years before they get any water out of there. Can you imagine what the population of the Metroplex is going to be 30 years from now? And what it will mean if the water is not available by one means or another. Well, one of the answers is in the urban areas, who will have all the political power in the future, they will look to places like West Texas and the Texas Panhandle and say, well, let's just go get their water. And there won't be the political will otherwise or ability to sort of stop that sort of thing. And so the Water Infrastructure Fund, to me, is absolutely a critical feature of legislative attention every year. $6 billion in bonds issued this time, Proposition 2, I think were important, but we need to fund it. And we're talking about $50 billion over the next 30 years. We need to put money in it every time as an absolute priority. Realizing that the issues have a lot of facets to them, because keep in mind, a lot of people get their water from the groundwater, surface water, lakes and reservoirs, rivers and things like that. And there are details that go in there. You've got the Ogallala Aquifer up in the Texas Panhandle that does not recharge. Whatever water is there is all that's ever going to be there. At the same time, the Edwards Aquifer is almost infinitely rechargeable. But there are going to be problems here too, because the population in this area is going to grow, and pressure on the Edwards Aquifer, multiply the population here 2 or 3 times, and take San Antonio and things like that, all the people who use the Edwards Aquifer. It's going to be exactly the same problem. It may recharge, but it won't recharge enough to meet the needs of a growing population.